Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at 12 bourbons that I always keep stocked at the Whiskey Cove. Run the video. Alright then folks, and welcome back to another new and exciting episode of the Whiskey Cove. As we get closer to that 5,000 subscriber mark, where we will be doing the 5,000 subscriber free giveaway for you folks at home. 2 things you need to do if you would like to win one of these amazing 4 bottles, plus 2 more we'll be announcing soon. We have the Old Forester barrel strength single barrel. We have the Early Times bottled in bond, the old brown Foreman bottle. We have Willet 4-year rye, and then we also have Weller 107 OWA. If you would like one of these bottles, first you have to be a subscriber, and then secondly, go over to the Whiskey Cove's webpage, which you'll find the link down below in the description. Click that link, it'll take you over to our shop, and then you just click on this free giveaway, and then you just sign up for that. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to put any card details in, nothing like that. And then you just need to pay attention to when we do the 5,000 free subscriber giveaway live event, because we will announce all 6 winners there. And maybe some other stuff, but we'll just have to wait and see about that. So let's get these whiskey bottles out of the way, and let's get on with today's video. So these are going to be 12 bottles that I always try to keep stocked at the Whiskey Cove. And to be fair, since moving into this house, well, 3 years ago now, I've always had a bottle of one of these here. Some of them are easy to find, some of them are hard to find, some of them are cheap, and some of them are expensive. But I try my very best to keep at least one here, always stocked at the Whiskey Cove for a rainy day here. So with that being said, let's jump on into the list, shall we? So first one, and for the old school heads, the people who have been around the Whiskey Cove for a decent amount of time now, should know this bottle quite a lot by now, and that is Evan Williams White Label, the bottled in bond. This is a big size bottle, 1.75 liters, for good reason. I like this stuff. I keep it on hand quite a lot because I like to do my cocktails. If I'm thinking of just an old-fashioned or like a bourbon smash, then this is my go-to cocktail for that. You don't need anything crazy. Maybe I might have a barrel proof every now and again if I'm looking to get really frightening. But however, this is just the perfect for that, and it's a nice daily sipper as well. Like, it is bottled in bond, 50% ABV or 100 proof. Has some clean vanilla ice and sugar notes, like some really nice candied forward notes, like a candied cherry and a candied dry fruit, a little bit of an oak backbone, not too much, a little bit of spice there as well. It just gives you a little bit of everything, you know, a really exciting bourbon for that cheap $15 price point. And if you get in the bigger sizes, it's gonna cost you even less. I think this cost me like $30, which is insane value for money. I have a decent amount left, as you can see in the bottle there, and then we just chip away at this as much as we could during this year. If I didn't have so much other whiskey, I'm sure we'll work our way through this quite easily. Not that I drink every day, but like I said, I do like to have a cocktail every now and again, and that would satisfy that there as well. So that was bottle number 1. Bottle number 2 on this list, going over to Sazerac. We went with a Sazerac owned 1792 Old Barton, and this is the bottled in bond version. However, specifically a bottled in bond by 1792 that is a store pick. I always try to keep one of these store picks on hand. What I really like when it comes to store picks, I like to pick up bottles of whiskey that generally don't come in single barrels. Think stuff like the 1792 small batch, Weller full proof, Weller 107 OWA, the full proof of the 1792 as well. So these whiskies don't normally come in single barrels. So I like to pick up those because it offers some really unique aspects of the 1792 bottled in bond and what it can achieve. Price point is you're gonna pay about $50, not too bad. It comes in this beautiful bottle, if I don't say so myself there as well. I do have a decent collection of the 1792s. With the 12-year probably being my favorite, but that one is not an easy bottle to find. So if I can get one of these store picks, single barrels, I'll definitely pick them up every time. However, they've slowed down a little bit in Colorado. I haven't seen them for about 8 or 9 months. So hopefully now we're getting a little bit closer to Christmas, they might start to push a little bit more so I can pick up a backup or 2. That was 1792 bottled in bond. So next up, we are staying with the Sazerac umbrella, if you like. And we are going over to Buffalo Trace. And much like the 1792 bottled in bond single barrel, we went with Buffalo Trace small batch, single barrel. Yes, again, specifically a single barrel Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace is fantastic on its own, but it really comes into its own with the single barrels, because it's not a single barrel. So when you get the single barrels, you get when you get to try like 4 or 5 of these single barrels, you really get to appreciate the full nature of Buffalo Trace and just how good it is. And these single barrels are excellent, excellent, excellent value for money, paying between $25 and $35. I wouldn't go above $35. However, I do see a lot of them in Colorado, so my limit is probably about 30. However, those people in different states who can't get the regular Buffalo Trace or the Buffalo Trace single barrels, and you might go up a little bit more to 40 and 50. And we've done a blind with the single barrel Buffalo Traces against El Matili, and this has kind of knocked it out of the park. So that should go a long way as well. I think I paid about $28 for this one and some change. I haven't tried this one. This is from Total Beverage in Colorado here. But again, just excellent value for money, and it's just a staple here at the Whiskey Cove. Definitely a top 5 whiskey that I always have here at the Whiskey Cove. However, we're doing 12 today, so let's move on to the next one. That was bottle number 3. Bottle number 4, we are stepping away from the Sazerac umbrella, and we are going to the Brown Foreman umbrella. So this is Brown Foreman Coopercraft 100. So for this bottle, I could have very easily put Old Forester 100 here. A lot of similarities between the two. Again, Brown Foreman products, you're going to get some of that banana runts, banana fresh baked pecan bread, walnut bread, that sort of thing. Those savory notes with some marshmallow and barrel char notes there to back it up. Stuff like hazelnut and some bacon spices there as well. But I ultimately went for the Coopercraft 100 because we already have a representative from Old Forester on this list. This is like same as the Old Forester 100. It's like a $20 bottle of whiskey, a true budget hitter. Yes, it's not in those teens, if you like, of $10, $20. It just sits just above that. But you're not going to find too much better value for money in that $20 to $25 range than the Coopercraft 100. If you haven't bought a bottle of this, what are you waiting for? It's only $20. Go out and get yourself one of these. And much like the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, this also makes an excellent cocktail too. So that was bottle number 5 on this list. Oh, excuse me, bottle number 4. So then moving on to bottle number 5, and we are taking a trip down to Four Roses in Kentucky. Specifically, the Four Roses single barrel, private barrel proof offerings. Much like some of the other bottles we have on this list, I am fortunate enough that these do drop in Colorado, and if I want to look for them enough, I will find them. They're gonna cost you about $80. I've seen they used to kind of be $79.99 just about everywhere here in Colorado, but it's become a bit more of a range of $90 to $100 right now, which I'm a little bit sad about because that really breaks maybe the ceiling a little bit for me of these. But I do have a decent selection of these, and you will still see them from time to time at about $85, which is still excellent value for money. This one is the OESQ. So they have a bunch of different yeast strains. So they have 2 mash bills, and each mash bill, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they have 2 different mash bills, and each mash bill has 5 different yeast strains combined in 10 different style of the bottle. So this one is the OESQ, and it has a 20% rye mash bill in this. This is aged 9 to 6 years old. You get a lot of floral, minty, pear drop style notes from this Four Roses, but any one of these letters which are different, you're gonna get a lot of differences in those barrels because they are single barrels, but those different mash bills and yeast strains definitely cause a little bit of, I say a little bit, a lot of crossover with different flavors as well. And also you're getting different ages from the barrels, and also a different site where they are in the rick houses there as well. So Four Roses are kind of like Maker's Mark in a way, how Maker's Mark kind of mess with their staves to create unique single barrels. These guys have meshed with the yeast strains and where it is in the rick house to kind of bring folks single barrels which are different to their regular offerings. So we definitely like to keep some of this on hand. Hopefully the price doesn't go up any more. It was bottle number 5. So then for bottle number 6, went to Wild Turkey, and we went to Russell's Reserve single barrel picks. Yes, there's been a little bit of a theme here. We have had a lot of single barrel picks here for the most part, but I really find that there's just so much value and so much great whiskey to be had in some of these single barrels. On the flip side of that, you sometimes might get less a product because the pick might not be so good. It just depends on the store. If you find a store that does some good barrel picks, then my recommendation would be to stick with them because that flavor profile might align with what you like there as well. This one is a pick from Argonaut in Denver, and why I really like this pick is it's from it's from Warehouse CN, so the Camp Nelson warehouse, the same one as this Camp Nelson single Richter we like a lot. This is 8 years old. I prefer them to be at that 10-year plus if we can get them, but they've been pushing out a lot of the 8 and 9-year ones lately, which is a shame. This is 55% ABV or 110 proof, and this cost me $72.99. which is pretty good in today's market because I know that these are like in Total Wine are like $80, $90 right now, which is insane. And a lot of other places have raised the prices as well. I shouldn't necessarily say places because there's a chain of where those prices can be raised from. However, Argonauts have been able to keep it low at that $73 mark, which I appreciate. I prefer them at $65. However, the $73 is good value for money. I could have gone with the Wild Turkey 101 here, but I just haven't been reaching for that Wild Turkey 101. Maybe now colder seasons where the Christmas and pumpkin spices can marriage a lot better with the Wild Turkey flavor profile. I might reach for that a little bit more, but I put the Russell's Reserve. I keep saying Russell's Reserve. Is it the Russell's? Yes, Russell's Reserve private selection, not the single barrel selection, the private barrel selection, which is the single barrel non-chilled filtered selection. And for 55% ABV or 110 proof, it's pretty good value for money there too. So that was bottle number 6. So we have 6 more, we're at the halfway mark here. So let's delve into bottle number 7. And we went to Heaven Hill, and of course this list would not be complete without Elijah Craig barrel proof. I have a few of these, I have a few too many of the Elijah Craig barrel proofs, and I'm not drinking them as much as I thought I would. So I've stopped buying them. I am on the lookout for the C923, but the last one I bought was the A121 or the B5, yeah, A121, because the B521 was the low ABV in the 50s. So the A121 was the last one that I bought, and then Heaven Hill kicked up with all the private barrel selections at the cask strength range. So I bought a few of those as well, but I haven't really been buying them lately. But that C923 looks, and where I'm curing it, is a fantastic whiskey as well. However, with this one, this is the bottle I always like to use for the videos. This is the C919. It's one of my favorite batches. I am nursing this bottle. 136.8 proof or 68.4% ABV. So definitely getting there, close to the hazmat range. Again, as a higher proof whiskey, you are going to get a little bit of that higher proof bite, but the Elijah Craig and Heaven Hill do an excellent job of rounding out some of those notes with a good amount of age, because these are the 12-year age bottles, and that barrel char note there as well. You got like a beautiful toasted peanut butter note, like a peanut brittle note there as well. Beautiful bacon spices on the back end, a lot of that barrel char notes. They're quite the delight. I've had some really great ones, and then some which were kind of just okay. I think the A121 fell off a little bit, and some of the private selections fell off a little bit as well. But the C919, the B520 are probably my 2 favorite ones, but you never know, maybe the C923 can be my new favorite. I guess we'll wait and see here. So that was bottle number 7. So let's move on to the next ones. So then for bottle number 8 on this list, that is going to be Eagle Rare 10-year. So I always have a bottle of Eagle Rare. I haven't been drinking it as much. I've been reaching for those Buffalo Trace single barrel picks. For whatever reason, I have 2 open bottles of Eagle Rare. I think it's because I wanted to do a bit of a taste test, because they just stuck aged 8 to 10 years on the front, where I used to be on the back. I just wanted to see if it was any different. And from what I hear, you're always going to find subtle differences with Eagle Rare, generally anyway, because story and research would have it that when they dump the single barrels of the Eagle Rare, they just rack them and they bottle them straight away. So it's basically a single barrel, but the only reason that it's not a single barrel, the only reason it doesn't say on the front, is because that they don't really clean the machines out. They just kind of throw it in after one after another, so it's not a true single barrel. So with Buffalo Trace's consistency, they didn't want it to call a single barrel. We appreciate that because it technically isn't there as well. 45% ABV or 90 proof, aged 10 years. You're gonna get not as much of that proofier bite, but you're gonna get a lot of wood with this, a lot of kind of like vanilla ice cream, a vanilla sponge cake type notes with beautiful Buffalo Trace marzipan, Italian cream cherries in the background there as well. MSRP on this in Colorado is about $39.99. I've never bought it for more than $39.99. And I'm thinking next year is probably going to take a little bit more of a jump in that. I know some folks out there, some folks in different states can get this for like 30 bucks, but I know other people, this gets marked up like $60, $70, which is a shame. It's a good whiskey, but it's not a $70, $80 bottle of whiskey that was. So that was bottle number 8. So I'm moving on to bottle number 9 on this list. And then we went with Early Times Bottled in Bond. We really have a lot of time for Early Times Bottled in Bond on this channel. Recently acquired by Sazerac, used to be produced by Brown-Forman. It is at least 4 years old is what we know, and it is the same mash bill that what Brown-Forman used to use for the King of Kentucky. I don't think that mash bill has been changed, because why would it? You know, if you're changing the mash bill on a product or a brand after buying it, then you're changing the brand altogether, so to speak. However, who knows what's going on behind the scenes? Folks say that sometimes there's subtle differences between the Brown-Forman one, the Sazerac one. There are, but that could just be down to differences in some of the barrels, specifically at that time, if the machines were cleaned out, what time of day they bottled it, how much they spent in the air, just any subtle differences that you could have between different bottles of whiskey in general. 100% proof or 100 proof, 50% ABV. You get a little bit of leathery tobacco notes, but has just enough sweetness to back that up there as well. Maybe like some strawberry yogurt, strawberry cream, shortbread type notes, and then also some floral bouquet style notes there as well. A really impressive bottle of whiskey for $20, and it is a 1 liter bottle there as well, so you're getting excellent value for money there as well. So that was bottle number 9 on this list. So then for bottle number 10, I did tell you earlier on that we did want to put Old Forester 100 on this list because we already had representatives from Old Forester. And the first one is going to be Old Forester 1910. So if I'm reaching for a toasted Old Forester, or a toasted bourbon, excuse me, then I'm going for Old Forester 1910. I just love what Old Forester did to make a double barrel toasted whiskey with this. It's just an excellent, excellent product in terms of it represents everything that Brown-Forman is about. But then the extra age or the extra barrel and just gives it more marshmallowy, campfirey, s'mosey notes. This bottle's dying on me a little bit because I've had it for a while. As you can tell, it's one of the older labels. Definitely getting some deep, like molassesy caramel notes there. And it just kind of reminds me of a graham cracker, chocolate, burnt marshmallow s'more. It's perfect. It's the perfect toasted bottle of whiskey. It's going to set you back at around $55 to about $60 right now. Mostly findable just about anywhere, unless you live in a state-controlled or a state-controlled liquor state. This is 46.5% ABV or 93 proof, and I can't recommend it enough for a toasted whiskey or double oaked or double barrel whiskey, whichever play on words you would like. So that was bottle number 10 on this list. And then getting down to the last two, staying with Old Forester, we went with Old Forester single barrel strength. So we could have gone for Old Forester 1920 at this point. But we are, like much of the other bottles of whiskey that we've talked about here today, we are fortunate in Colorado that we get a significant amount of these drops. I feel like stores get, I feel like off the top of my head, I can probably name 10 stores that get a pick every year, and some stores get 2. So it's pretty consistent. You can find these, much like the Four Roses single barrel. Prices used to be $70 to $80. Now they're anywhere up closer to $100, which is a shame. Hopefully that price doesn't go up too much, because if it does, then I'll probably consider 1920 to be my go-to instead of having this on my shelf or trying to buy this all the time. This was from a liquor store in the Denver area called Molly's. This was Warehouse J and Floor 8. Folks like to say, and you could potentially, I've had good whiskey or great ones of these from the higher floors. A lot of people say that the higher the floor, the more robust and the more rich the flavor profile. I guess you could theorize that a little bit with the higher temperatures and the more contraction up there as well, but it could just be wife's tales if you like, in a way. So this is Warehouse J Floor 8. ABV on this is a big one, 67.15% or 134.3. If you're gonna get these and you want to find something a little bit nice and special, go for the higher floors and go for the ones above 65% ABV. That you're gonna get the higher proof and the little bit of richness there as well. Much like the other Old Forester, you're getting those toasty notes. Not as much as in the 1910. You get a little bit more proof on this. Touch of banana, a little bit of those yeasty notes there as well. If you've ever done an Old Forester too, and I did that recently, when they have all their kind of distillate or their beer fermenting, you can stick your head and smell it. You can have that Hefeweizen clovey banana note that comes out, and you definitely have that on this whiskey as well. Much like its cousins Jack Daniels, because they are owned by Brown-Forman. You get some of that warm walnut bread with banana and caramel sauce and brown sugar and molasses and maple sugar. It's a rich dessert forward whiskey, but the ones that are higher proof really do a great job of balancing out by cutting through some of that sweetness. And these are the bottles that I will always have in my collection, or in my bar, wherever I keep them on my shelves. I will definitely have one of these at least. So then moving on to the last bottle on this list, and this is definitely going to be no surprise whatsoever when we talk about bourbons and whiskeys that I always like to keep. That is going to be Stag Junior. The Old Forester barrel strength single barrel and the Stag Junior continuously pop up anytime I do a list of whiskeys I like, whiskeys that I always want to keep, best value for money out there. They consistently keep popping up, and there's an excellent reason for that. It's because if you can find them for MSRP, you're paying like $60. I was at a whiskey drop this weekend where I was fortunate to get a good bottle of whiskey, but some of the other folks there were able to get a Stag. I think it was like 23A or one of the newer Stags. But you do see them in Colorado. I'm seeing the single barrel picks more than I'm seeing the regular offerings of Stag. They've dried up a bit because I feel like they're pushing more the single barrels to Colorado right now. But $60 is excellent value for money for this stuff. I don't know the age, I think it's non-age stated, but it just gives you a really nice snapshot of what a George T. Stag is like. You do get, it tastes like it has some age with it as well, but you get those brown sugars, those deeper caramelized flavors, much like the Brown-Forman's Old Forester barrel strength single barrel. This one is 65.55% ABV or 131.1 proof. Not as hot as some of the single barrels. I do have a single barrel hazmat, which is here. This is an Argonaut pick from down in Denver, and this is one of those hazmat single barrel picks. This is 70.5% ABV or 141 proof. So that takes us to a whole new level there, and that costs $60 as well. Yes, I was fortunate. Yes, I had to hustle a little bit to get it, but like I said, in Colorado we get the opportunity to sometimes get some of this good stuff in and around Denver anyway. I feel like that. And I know some folks will say, well, I live in Denver, I live in Colorado, I never get to see this stuff. You do really have to hustle. You have to like a lot of liquor stores pages, stay in tune with the information and news that they're putting out, have conversations with people, just ask questions, ask them what are they seeing that's coming through, and just ask them if it's a good time to show up to see if they can find some good whiskey, right? And I guess generally just spending money there is the other big factor. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's list. Hopefully it wasn't a little bit too wordy and lengthy. We got through 12 excellent bottles of whiskey, excellent bourbons, and definitely 12 that I'll keep on this or in the Whiskey Cove as much as I ever can, really, unless things change for me. These whiskeys will always be on my shelf. So if you come down to the Whiskey Cove and you would love to try one of these bottles, it will be there waiting for you. So as we say on this channel, as we drink through the world's whiskey one glass at a time. Cheers.